What's up? Today we're getting the engine painted. I want to make sure I get this done today, wrap this part of the project up, and then we can be done with the engine and I can start putting all the components back on the engine. Also, I want to make sure I get this cut out today, make it look a little bit better, get this area cleaned up. The engine is assembled, done, and the painting will be the last thing I do on it. Alright, looks like we're going to have to finish this up tomorrow. I got all the studs off of both the intake and the exhaust side, but this took me a little bit longer than I expected. The exhaust side gave me a lot of trouble, particularly this stud here. The threads on that stud here were so smooth that I couldn't get the nuts to lock up on each other, so I ended up having to use a impact to get that one off. But I got all of them off. Just got to clean up these surfaces and then we'll tape this up and paint it. But I don't want to paint this in the dark, and I again want to tape these surfaces up and make sure that they're nice and clean before I start painting. We're back, and now I've got all my surfaces cleaned off. I just need to tape them up before I clean it. I'll tape up these sensors also. I also want to tape up this nozzle here. I'm only going to paint the back, and I'll also paint the front. But before I do this, I want to make sure I tape everything up and clean up any residual gunk that I see anywhere. I have a wire brush that I'll run over any areas that have any gunk left on them, and then we'll get to spray painting. Alright, we're all taped off now, and forgive the sparkly tape. It was the only tape I had in the house that could tape stuff off. Front side is also taped off. So all that's left to do, I think I'm going to put my valve cover in a trash bag and put it on in a trash bag so it doesn't get any paint on it. I went ahead and put 3 coats on. I'm not going to bore you all with watching me paint 3 coats of the engine. I think it looks a lot better now. I'm not going for a showroom engine. I just wanted to paint it so it looks a little bit nicer when I put it in the car, and that you can tell it's been taken care of. Go ahead and put up an image of what the engine looked like when I pulled it out of the car right now. And this is what it looks like now. The back turned out just as well. It's a shadow, so I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but it looks the same as the front. While this is drying, what I'm going to do is pull the valve cover off and go ahead and get that cut. So we'll jump to another shot of me in the garage. Alright, I've got my valve cover in the vise. And like I said, I just want to cut off this edge here. So what I'm going to do is take my angle grinder and just follow it up. But first, I think I'm going to tape this off here so I can have a line to follow as I'm cutting. So I think that looks a lot better. Once this gets painted, that'll look, pretty good. I'll paint this and get this cleaned up, and once this is all put together, that will look really good with the cam gear showing there. Now that I'm satisfied with this cut, I'm gonna go ahead and respray this and get it cleaned up because there's some dust in here from where I had cut this. I also had scarred this up a little bit from when I took the engine out, so I'm gonna spray these areas where it's scratched up. It's scratched up here, the chain's kind of rubbed on it, and then next time when I put the engine in, I'll put a towel over this so I don't scratch it up. I would also like to sand down this Honda emblem. It's got some corrosion on here, and I think if I just hit this with a Dremel, it'll take some of that corrosion off and it'll make this real bright. And I'll also do that up here with the dual overhead cam VTEC symbol as well. I'm gonna get this sanded down and painted, and we'll come back and see what this looks like. Just to show you the difference of what it looks like, I've already done this surface here, and I still need to go over the dual overhead cam, so you can tell that cleaned it up quite a bit. I did nick a little bit, but since I'm gonna be repainting this, I'm not worried about it because I just came off of the Dremel came off of the emblem with just a little bit. But I'm happy with the way that looks. It really freshens up this valve cover and makes that Honda emblem pop. So I'm gonna finish up the dual overhead cam, and then I'm gonna get this spray painted again, and then we'll wrap this valve cover up. So I got that edge painted up. Also touch up the scratches that I had. I think this valve cover is good to go. There's no silver showing. All the areas that I cut are touched up. and I think this looks pretty good. The silver really pops. One thing I'm probably gonna do, I had planned to go with gold, black and gold, but I don't think that the gold looks really good, so I'm probably gonna get an OEM cam seal here and change it back to black, and for the engine bay just do the black and silver because I think that looks a little bit better. Contemplated painting these letters gold, but I couldn't find a gold that looked good, and with the silver spark plug wire cover, I think that the black and silver looks good, so I'll probably change my color scheme to black and silver instead of black and gold. So that's gonna wrap this video up. I appreciate you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Rob Stone, 2 damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code. Used to